couple days after the Prada event, we have this small gift, and I want to take the opportunity to talk a little bit more about my experience with fragrances. I've been nerding about fragrances for a while now, but I must admit that I've never had anything like a class before, and the experience at the event was so enlightening in certain aspects, and that's why I also decided to share some things about fragrances from past experience and also from this recent masterclass. But first, let's do a quick unboxing. I mean, they really nailed that branding here with the Prada triangle. There's a small magazine, a pencil, and of course a small package of Prada Paradigm. Just a quick note, this is not a sponsored video by any means, so I just wanted to show because I think it was very cool, and it's not every day that you get invited by Prada for something. Enough with the unboxing, now let's talk about fragrances. Here's what we're going to talk about today. How we can classify fragrances by their concentration, the different fragrance types by scent characteristics, some quick tips on how to store them and how to apply them on your skin, and also a small fragrance list for my personal recommendations, and it will be linked down below. First things first, a fragrance is defined by how their essential oils are blended together with some sort of alcohol, and how strong we perceive that smell is defined by the essential oils concentration. That's why when you see some sort of fragrance, the name usually comes together with some small letters like EDT or EDP. These are some of the different concentrations available, and the most popular ones are cologne, in which we can find less than 5% of essential oils on their concentration. Eau de toilette, this concentration usually sits between 5 and 15% of essential oils in their composition. Eau de parfum, it is slightly more concentrated than eau de toilette, with a percentage of essential oils usually between 15 and 20%. And lastly, parfum, in which we usually find 20+% of essential oils in the composition. Usually having a bigger concentration of essential oils might mean that the scent on the fragrance will be stronger, but this is not always the case, since what we really define how strong a perfume is or how long the scent lasts will be the specific molecules present in each fragrance itself. Different molecules have different characteristics. Ones may be more volatile than others, and that's why even if you have something more concentrated, it doesn't mean that you have something stronger. The way these molecules interact with one person's skin will also determine a fragrance performance. So the truth is, you gotta try it by yourself. Now it's when things start to get complicated. When we start talking about fragrance types or fragrance families, things start to get really abstract. For someone that doesn't have the experience with different scents, describing or trying to imagine how a fragrance is, it's really hard. But you don't have to know how to describe them to understand what are the types of fragrance that you like. Usually we can find 4 main different categories of fragrances: amber, fresh, floral, and woody. Each of these categories have some specific characteristics, and once you learn how to identify them, things start to get easier. Inside each family there are some sub-families, but I don't think this is so important, so let's keep ourselves within those 4 main categories. Starting off with the amber family, this type of fragrance was called oriental in the past, so you might find some descriptions as this, but it's not the best way to describe an entire family of fragrances since it has some sort of imperialist tone in it. But anyway, amber fragrances are famous for their warm scents. They're usually really deep, really rich, and they're also oftenly described as sensual perfumes. Next, we have the fresh fragrances. I guess these ones are easier to spot. As the name suggests, they have a really fresh scent, almost like a clean feel. They're lighter, great for everyday wear, and they usually offer some citrus and aquatic notes. The next family is the floral scent, and I believe the name is pretty self-explanatory. It has some sort of softness to it, but it's also really delicate and elegant. And last but not least, the wood family. These scents are often related to the masculine vibe. They're usually really deep, really sophisticated. They bring a really strong presence, and they are great for a night out, for example. I believe these 4 categories are enough for you to start to understand and maybe build a collection if it's something that you are going for, but you'll never really understand which one is which if you don't go out and try those different scents by yourself. Now let's suppose that you already started your collection and you want to make sure that you are smelling good. There are some key factors here. First, how do you store your fragrances, the best points you can apply them on your skin, and also a really good question is, where is best to apply? Directly on your skin or on your clothes? At the Prada masterclass, I got a really different approach to this last question, and I'll be sharing with you today. But first, the best way to store your perfumes. See, the fragrances, they are really sensitive to warmth and humidity. So if you're just starting out, you probably have a bunch of different fragrances stored on your bathroom, and this is absolutely the most terrible place to do it. If you want them to last longer and work properly, you should put them inside of your closet, somewhere away from heat and also away from humidity. I have a dedicated space for my collection inside my wardrobe, and it's also a great way to keep everything nice and tidy. Now it's time for you to apply your fragrance. I'll use this one as an example, and also it will be a great way to see how it will evolve over time on my skin. The flask design is so beautiful. I love these green tones. We have some specific points that are called pulse points on our body. Basically, they are some heat points on our skin due to high blood flow, and the higher temperatures will help those essential oils to evaporate, and that's why we scent the smells. So the main points are the wrist section, this elbow area, anywhere here near the neck, but just be careful if you have some really sensitive skin and have to shave frequently. We can also apply here in the back of the head, and some less common spots are behind the knees and even this front area of the torso. For me, usually 4 sprays are enough, but it really depends on the fragrance. This one's an eau de parfum, so it's slightly more concentrated. A few sprays will probably be enough. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. I could also go over how we perceive the notes at different times, but this is something way abstract for my taste that I probably won't be able to convey to you through a video. For now, just know that we have top notes, heart notes, and bottom notes. Top notes are the ones that you scent first when you apply the fragrance. The heart notes, they bring personality to the fragrance, and the bottom notes are the ones that you feel last. It's usually what a residual scent feels like. Now it's time to answer the famous question: should you apply your fragrances on your skin or on your clothes? And the short answer is it depends, which was a shock for me because I've learned in the past that you should always apply direct on your skin. Applying certain fragrances to your clothes may damage them over time or even stain them. That's why a few years ago I decided to only apply my fragrances directly on my skin. But during the recent masterclass that I took with Prada, their fragrance sommelier was explaining that for fresh fragrances that are usually more volatile, applying them on your clothes could be a great way to expand your lifetime. It means that you usually can scent them for longer. It doesn't mean that you should apply them on your blazers or coats, but maybe apply them on certain pieces, such as scarves or other types of knitwear. I must say that I don't know how I feel about this. I'll probably keep applying my fragrances on my skin, but please let me know down in the comments what are your thoughts on this. Also, if you made this far into the video and you're not yet subscribed to my channel, consider doing this now. As I said before, I have a small list of recommendations for each of the fragrance families. I wrote them down on my phone so I don't forget them. For the amber fragrances, we have Dior Homme Intense, Tom Fort Tobacco Vanille, Jean Paul Gaultier Le Mal Le Parfum. These three are really intense, really rich, really sexy. They have a lot of character. If this is something that you are going for, you should definitely consider one of these. Now for the fresh ones, that is also my favorite category. We have the Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette, L'Odyssée pour Homme by Semiac, and also Acqua di Gio by Giorgio Armani. My personal favorite between these three is the Issei Miyake, just because I love how different the citrus notes are. Now for the floral fragrances, Prada L'Homme, Gucci Guilty, and also the Maison Margiela Flower Market. These are really elegant fragrances, really soft, is for the ones that really want a different approach to scents. And last but not least, the woody fragrances, probably the most popular category among men, and also probably my least favorite, just because I feel most of these scents, they can become a little bit overwhelming over time. But anyway, that's not the case for the ones that I mentioned here. We have Le Labo Santal 33, Creed Aventus, and Terre d'Hermès. And that's it. All the fragrances that I just mentioned are listed in the link down below. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, and I'll see you on the next one.